Oh, we live. Shit.
Yeah, we are live. Welcome to another episode of Propels Talk. It's me, Five. We got Cheddar Chaz. We got Lito. Dog, I can't call you Cheddar Chaz, dog. I gotta just call you Chaz.
But I don't get it. People just say Cheddar or just Chaz. Like it don't gotta be Cheddar Chaz.
Man,
That's like calling me Mr. Chaz or something. Like it just one or the other is cool. Like it don't
so
matter.
this show is brought to you by Company Burger and DraftKings Sportsbook. Place your bets, sign up, use the code BOOT, get a kickback, and you try to win you some money. We're gonna get the show started.
Took away. Yes, but this extra money's worth now.
Bet. All right, this episode, I really want to talk about somebody that resembles the number 5, Herb Jones. I want my guy Herb Jones to win the Defensive Player of the Year. I actually believe that he can. But let's look at Chaz and let's let Lito, the guys, deliberate off this. Chaz, what do you think about the better chances?
I think sometimes it's more of a popularity contest. That being the case, I think even if Herb didn't necessarily earn it, I think he has a good chance because his reputation, right? He has like Marcus Smart is really good defensively, right? But his reputation is better than the player. Same thing with Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay is great defensively, but his reputation kind of precedes it. I think he has a chance. Him being the second year player, he's gonna have to. I think if he does exactly what he did last year, even if he doesn't improve at all, if he does exactly what he did last year, I think he could finish top 3, 4.
I mean, finishing those odds, I think is plausible. One because he was able to guard the best player on the opposing team, and I think the Pelicans didn't play in enough big games to get the notoriety. If we won more games, I believe that he actually would have a better chance. Lito, what I wanted to ask you, what stands out about Herb? Just on the defensive end, we're going to talk. But what stands out about Herb that you see?
Herb is a computer defensively. He's calibrating the things that you do before you do it. He's sliding his feet. He's playing not only his man, he's playing a passing lanes. His ability to defend multiple actions in a sequence is the thing that it really sets him apart. I mean, I believe he's the best perimeter defender in basketball, period. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I know. There's Drew, there's Marcus. I think he's a better defender than Marcus. This is just me. I don't think Marcus Smart is the best defender on his team, and I've said that multiple times. I feel like the thing you got to give Herb credit for is Herb is a first year guy coming in knowing how to play NBA defense. That's unheard of. That doesn't happen. You get guys who come in the league rookie year, they score 20, but they terrible on the other end, right? So when you got a guy who understand the fundamentals of defense, I mean, you can do nothing but respect it. And Pels getting to the playoffs, Pels getting to the play-in, people saying that on a national stage. I don't mean to go off script, but like I kind of want to answer your first question too, if you got a second. I know, All right, cool. So this is my thing. If you'd have asked me if Herb could win Defensive Player of the Year prior to Marcus Smart winning it, I'd have said no. Because I mean, if you look at the last however many winners, you got forwards and centers, right? However, now that Marcus Smart has won, I do believe that Herb has a shot of winning it. I'm with Chaz though. They give guys awards based on reputation, right? They give them awards based on reputation, and it's usually at the tail end of the reputation. So do I think he can win it next year? Nah, I don't think he can win it next year. But I do think in the future, he could finish maybe 2 or 3. It's just going to be hard to win because of location. Herb doesn't speak much. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those guys are boisterous unless you're Giannis.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Precedent. I think that's probably the word you're looking at. The precedent has been set with Marcus Smart on a team that had a Robert Williams on it, right, protecting the rim. And a lot of people say that he was the better defender on that team. He made that team work. I'm of the standpoint that the Rudy Goberts, the Draymond Greens, don't deserve to win Defensive Player of the Year for the reason that they don't guard the best player. Like just playing help side defense all day, it sometimes it is easier. It's easier to get rebounds that way when you're just playing help side. It is because that's a defensive stat, right? And then we're looking at blocks, right? You're playing help side defense. You're not necessarily blocking the guy shot that you're defending more so. You're not doing that against Kevin Durant, which Herb is guarding, the Jason Tatum, which Herb is guarding, the Devin Booker, which Herb is guarding. I would have said Mikal Bridges probably could have won that award over Marcus Smart too. But I think these players now, the Mikal Bridges, the Herb Jones, have the ability to win this award. And I think they should get more nods than the guys that are just playing help side. Chaz, go back to you. Herb's identity, and I think Griff even talked about this, that Willie Green had the idea of him starting with the varsity, as he said in the clip this week. Well, he said it in the summer league, but it was released this week, that Willie saw something in Herb early on. Like he knew that he was going to be playing up. He wasn't going to be playing in Birmingham. And I know you don't like, okay, maybe our coaching staff, you don't, like too much or care for, you don't think they do enough. Did you see this out of Herb early?
I'm going to say this with respect to Coach and Griff. Griff is lying. And this is why I think Griff is lying, because I've seen Griff lie like this before. Like Stan Van Gundy's the only one who saw the Point Zion vision. It's like, all right, why you fired him then? Like he always lying. Like if some shit works, this was the plan all along. Like but we all know Herb played because Josh got hurt in the first game. But that being said, when I look at Herb, I see a guy who's like, man, you're looking at the top of the iceberg, because truthfully, he's not as strong as he's going to be. You know what I'm saying? His intuition is already there, but he doesn't have like the miles on him yet. Like Herb at 30 years old, it's going to be phenomenal. He's going to be a phenomenal defender, especially if he gets the support in the coaching staff that he needs. You know what I'm saying? And it translates. Especially, and if guys around him, if his tide kind of lifts the rest of the boats, because no matter how great Herb is, if he doesn't have certain guys surrounding him who can help support him, that anchor behind him playing defense, then we're going to see some nights where Herb, he might have held the guy to 20 points, but the fact that he didn't have help at the rim, the guy got 28. You know what I'm saying? So I think, and even if he goes on to have a bit of a sophomore slump or whatever happens, I think his potential is just that high. I would just love to see the coaching staff support that, like focusing on a guy who has such, in my mind, a high ceiling for where he was drafted, because he atones for a lot of draft sins. You know what I'm saying? Herb, you do that draft again. Herb's a first round pick. You do the draft when Zion got drafted, 19. You do that draft again, and Noah is playing for the fucking what's the
Shanghai,
Sparks?
Chill out, man,
or something like that. But I'm saying,
no, man. I think that's some truth to this. Like I think Herb is Griff's golden child. He is the golden goose of Griff. Like you do that draft again, he's probably in the top 10 for sure. I think he has that much, one, already NBA readiness, and two, he has another level of potential, because you saw his shot, his ability to shoot, then his ability to dribble and handle and play make a little bit. I'm gonna push this to Lito. Chaz alluded to this, the supporting cast, like that's a huge part of it. The ability and I think defense is a team thing. It is not an individual locating thing. It starts with the team itself. We had, I believe, Drew at that time was the best defender in the league, and then you had Anthony Davis blocking shots, and we were still in the bottom third of defense. So it doesn't matter if you just have one or two pieces. You need a collective group or a defensive mindset from your head coach and your GMs to push this forward. Who do you see, catching up to Herb in a defensive standpoint on this team?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Honestly, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Trey. I'm gonna say Trey because I mean, we've been watching him in summer league, summer basketball, whatever. And honestly, like when guys play with Chris Brickley, man, they don't ain't no defense out there. Like I'm not even really looking for anybody to lock up. But I believe that Trey's Herb's guy and vice versa, and I believe that I believe that him looking at what Herb did last year, which is how Herb saw the floor. That's how he got on the court, right? And Trey offensively has a lot more to show. And I think he understands now that the only way he'll really be able to stay there is defensively. If he puts out that defensive effort, and he's a guy who, he's 6'9", he can shoot the ball, but hell, he go play defense too. Well, shit, man, give me that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, and this is not a diss to Drew or AD, but Herb, it feels like Herb's defense is infectious. When you see the complete clamps that Herb is basically on an island. He's a shutdown corner, right? The defensive capabilities that he has, he's basically like taking your best offensive player. He ain't gonna win every matchup, but he damn sure gonna make it hard. He gonna make it tough for them to get a quality look. I mean, I was looking at tape the other day of what he did against Paul George. I think the first time they played the Clippers, man, and Paul is a complete offensive player. Like Paul really don't have weaknesses. Paul can handle the ball. He's smooth. He got dribble pull-ups. Herb had him at hell. So if you're looking at that on the sideline, or if you're in a game, you're looking at that, you're gonna play hard. You're gonna play a little bit harder. You're gonna give more effort. But I'm looking at Trey.
I say that's the person that I think we all want to see on the court. Shout out to Mar Javion. He said Dyson. I like Dyson. I think Dyson's going to see the floor a lot. I think we'll have our second team will probably be our defensive like staple. They'll probably bring the juice because offense isn't going to be their standpoint, their stronghold. And I think they'll be able to, get into people pause and be able to guard a lot of different things and actions and play with freedom because they won't be the offensive juggernaut like the first teams. They'll be able to push the pace and they want to play in transition because that's easier buckets. That's more infectious.
Yeah.
Playing alongside somebody like Herb, and he's guarding Paul George. Now, this is 2 times in a year where Paul George is like coming off an injury and his first game back is always us. Like it's so weird. Like I've seen this twice. The first time we played him, I think he had like 39. The first time this happened he had 39. The second time, of course, we have Herb. Of course, this different season, different injury. He didn't have that many. Like it was a very different game. We won that game for sure, but it was a very different game for Paul George. Herb did it to Donovan Mitchell. He did it to Book. He did it, and he really didn't do it to KD. But these who is, like he's guarding the best guard each and every night. And there are some games that he's not going to have it. But man, he makes it really tough on people. And I think that's all you really can ask. Chaz,
hey, Fob, can I say one thing? I say one thing? I think so. Look, to answer your question, my answer is still a Trey. But if EJ doesn't get hurt, I'm calling EJ after Trey. After Trey, just because
at that position or just in general?
No, just in general, just to bring it defensively. Because if you look at where he was drafted, what he did in college, how he plays, the chip on his shoulder, the things that where he would have thought he was going to get drafted higher coming into the league, I think that he was going to hang his hat on defense.
I can agree with that. I think his ability at that point, especially playing at Ohio State, you saw it all over the tape. That was like his thing. Defense wasn't the problem for him. They told him to go back and get better offensively. He did that. Still didn't get drafted in the top 20. Ended up falling to us in the second round. I think he was a huge steal. Just unfortunate that he got hurt. Hope best wishes for him. I hope he comes back to the team in the next year or so. And we'll see that. Again, Jamar poses a decent question. Season opener. How do we think? How gonna guard KD? Of course, we're assuming that KD's gonna play. in that game, and okay, you're just gonna put Herb on his second year. Chaz, how do you think we guard him?
God,
There's that.
just pray about it. See, this is where it gets a little. We gotta be real. Nobody's stopping Kevin Durant. He's still Kevin Durant. Nobody is realistically stopping Paul George. Really, you can just make it very difficult for him to do what he needs to do. Herb guards Kevin Durant, holds Kevin Durant to 29 points. He did a good job on Kevin Durant that night. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just how it is with the upper echelon players. Not that a guy like Herb can't ascend to that. But even prime Tony Allen, certain players, it just ain't gonna be nothing you can do with them. Like it just ain't nothing you can do with them.
Tony Allen got a pair of sneakers signed by Kobe, and Kobe still gave him like 35.
Yeah, like
that just tells you like it don't even matter.
It just don't matter. Like, but you know who I think is gonna ascend somewhat defensively this year, aside from Trey? I think Zion. I think Zion is gonna. The reason why I say that is because I think he has the physical tools to be a decent defender. I'm not saying it's gonna be all world. He just has to be competent, right? He has to be competent and decent. I think by like I'll say about maybe 20 games in, after he kind of gets his legs under him, figures out what's going on, adjusts to the system, I think you'll see him taking more pride defensively, especially if the team's winning. Because I think a team winning has so much to do with how hard they play defense. Like Jax scored 4 points, the team up by 20. You're gonna see Jax with the chase down blocks. You're gonna see Jax, playing with a certain level of intensity. Like I think so,
No, that's a great point. I mean, winning is infectious, and that forces you to play harder on defense and makes you do smarter things on offense. And I think the team has to do a better job of collective team defense. Yeah. I keep preaching this point. We don't do a great job of guarding the 3-point line. Lito, that's kind of what I'm going to lead to you. How do we guard the 3-point line? We've been bottom 3. How can we guard it?
I mean, realistically playing basketball, like, it's not that hard. You guard your man. Like, is honestly, dog, is effort. These are effort things. These are little lapses that guys have because, like you said, for one, we weren't winning a lot of the season. At points in the season, we looked miserable. You look at when we started to turn the season around. Look at how we guarded the 3-point line then. It's completely there. It's night and day. So it's just effort, man. It's things, it's effort, it's will, it's know-how, it's want to. I think coming into this season, though, what Chaz just said about Zion, I think that is gonna apply to everybody, bro. I don't think Willie's gonna be so I don't think he's gonna give a leash to a lot of people. If the defensive effort isn't there, hey, come sit next to me. Let's talk about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's figure this out because we hanging our hat on that. These are the things that we coming into the season and we have to be prepared for. You saw what Phoenix did to us. That's how they beat us, basically, right? Pick and roll, getting it out, kicking to the wing, and a lot of PNRs with Aiden. But I think that defensively is where we need to adjust for sure.
I think that kind of falls on the coaching staff. Like, you have to teach your players to know the teams that they're guarding defensive. Like, you have to know their scheme of, if you will. Like, if a team like Atlanta, Trey wants to shoot and probe and kick, you have to know that that's what they want to do. So what's the alternative to that? Guarding the 3-point line, stay inside, forcing them inside. And I know we don't have a very great rim protector, but and not giving up layups. I think that's the tough part. You want to guard the 3, force them in, but not give up a layup. That's just defense, right?
You can't, especially, looking at Phoenix, right? That's not a team you could drop coverage to death. When you got them kind of Trey Youngs and the whatever elite point guard we face tonight, you can't just drop coverage that you gotta give up something, right? So you gotta understand what's more important, 3 or a layup.
I think even when Stan was here and we still have most of Stan's staff, I think their philosophy was the Milwaukee Bucks philosophy, like force them to take threes. If they miss, cool, but we're going to protect the paint. I think with this team, I think at the 1 and the 5, you don't really have the defensive personnel to even stop the 3-point, honestly, because CJ is going to get killed at the point of attack most nights, right? Against most, especially you got those, like, even a guy like Drew in CJ's defense, even a guy like Drew had problem with, like, I forgot who created this term, but they called them like water bug guards, like prime Dennis Schroeder. When he would play Drew, he would look incredible because something about those quick twitch guards, Drew just couldn't do nothing with. So if I think a lot of nights when you see like those guards with that capability, we won't be able to stop the point of attack. No one's really afraid of JV. And we already have a team that they already like paranoid and they're ready to collapse and help. So you're gonna have a guy wide open, and you just gotta hope they miss shots. Honestly, like even during this season when we went on that stretch when Chris was in, it actually happened when Chris was in Cancun. When we went on that stretch, a lot of that was people missing shots. If you look at it, you're like, oh, we held them to 3 for 13. They missed 10 wide open shots. We ain't even do shit.
All right, like, to that effect, Chaz, we missed a lot of open shots. We continue to miss a lot of open shots.
We missed a lot of shots too.
So I gotta leave it there. Chris, how you doing, man? Nice for you to pull up on us. We ran through a list of different things about Herb and his potential of winning the Defensive Player of the Year. If you want to chime in, this is your time.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, like there's no. I wish we could say that there was a formula, right? To winning these awards, but there's so many different things that go, into them. But, I think there's some level of, you don't know the bias that goes into it. There's some level of politics. Sometimes I think when these awards are given, you need even when it comes to the defensive teams. We see guys that should have made it the year prior that they might not even have the year that they had in the original year of you learning their name, whether it be something that they did defensively or offensively that garners them the award the year afterwards. You got team success, you got individual success, you got analytics, you got the strength of of who you're guarding. The good thing about Herb is that he had the year that he had last year. All the analytics throughout the year point favorably towards him. And, you hope that whatever the strength of this team is, which most of us would say offensively, you would hope that the Pelicans find teams in certain situations to where guys, and even Trey Murphy and Jose Alvarado, the depth of this team that we hope, if healthy, it doesn't put as much on Herb's plate, even with what he did last year. What I want to see, and whether it's Dyson Daniels for a few minutes, but there's ways to keep him fresh defensively versus hoping that Herb is the one that has the answer, or he's the the main key to the success. He's a hell of a defender, but everybody gets overwhelmed at some point. I don't know if Herb was guarding point guard, shooting guard, small forwards. I don't know if that's consistently the answer, right? We saw certain guys just get them in foul trouble based off the fact that it took a little bit for Herb. I don't know if Herb ever got the whistle that he deserved last year. So there's so many different things that go into this thing, man. But I think at least there's he has a chance to replicate or even improve on what he did last year. People know his name. I think the respect factor is there. And if the team wins and the defense is, I would say within the top 15, especially if they're in the top 10, he'll be a guy that should have a decent opportunity.
Yeah, I even go back to what most people say his first team all rookie snub. He ended up in 6th place, and I think we won like 30 some odd games. If we win 6 more games, we get to 40. I think he's able to creep up into that first team. Winning is vital. Winning is important. And I think that's how he can, get these awards, or if possible. I think he should be in these conversations regardless. I even having this conversation with Chaz and Lito, I even mentioned the notion that these help side defenders shouldn't get this nod. The Rudy Gobert's, the Draymond Green, I get it. Most people think Draymond is a god on defense, but not necessarily me. But these guys get to play help side, and I think that's a little bit easier than guarding the premier guards, the premier players in the league, night in, night out. And I'll push it to you, Chris, to chime in on this part.
No, I mean I like that from how I guess the common man sees basketball. Or I mean, to me, I get more. I find the individual that is locking down said person. I think Lito, when I was coming in here, he mentioned how Herb is if this was a football, he would be a lockdown cornerback, right? You would put him on one side, or you would put him, you put him whoever the best guy is, you put him there, and you worry about how the other side is. And throughout the year, the Pelicans would, they would base their defense or how they would bracket situations based off of where Herb where his primary assignment was. So, and then he has some of the best instincts that you're gonna find on a basketball floor defensively. His mindset in regards to closeouts and how to perfectly contort his body when contesting shots to not just end up blocking the basketball or forcing a turnover, but saving the basketball and giving an opportunity to get in transition. I mean, he's one of the more smarter dudes on the floor. So I think he's actually I think he gives you an opportunity. If you have enough guys that help him, you get one of those situations to where he gives you a lot of the things that you may love about Gobert and Draymond. Not to say that they're not good on-ball defenders. I don't think, Five is saying that either. But, you get an opportunity to where his smarts off the ball and his impact on the ball all end up playing a role, and they can be showcased. But that's gonna mean some health. That's gonna mean a lot of guys end up giving effort and continuing to making strides forward, and maybe some individuals that we're not thinking about right now coming into the rotation, showing what they can do defensively.
Nah, I would agree. Chaz, earlier you mentioned Zion, and I think you mentioned him for a reason to say he's going to have like a bounce back year, or he could potentially because he has the tools to be a good or a solid defensive player. How do you feel about Brandon?
Well, to Zion's credit, with how he played last year, I think he can only go up. Pause. But it gave us a whopping 0 across the board. But that being said, I think Brandon can get smarter defensively, but I still think Brandon, and he can get stronger, but I think he has physical limitations as far as foot speed, the way he'll never be more than an okay defender. And that's great. All he really has to be is okay, because I don't think you have, aside from, I think Trey has the potential. I think Jose can be an irritant. But I really think the guys with the physical tools to be great defenders on his team stop at Herb, Trey, and Zion. I think B.I., when I look at how B.I. plays some games, he has some games that he takes, the matchup kind of personal, and he gives more effort than defensively than some other games. But I think where it's really going to have to start with B.I. is him getting physically stronger and IQ situations. Like I mentioned this before, at the end of that Lakers game, he tried to foul LeBron. He missed the foul. Now, we saw Garrett Temple miss the foul too. But that goes to show you that something upstairs with guys just isn't registering as far as time and situation. LeBron must have pump faked 3-4 times. Nobody fouled him. And he took the shot. Like, it was like, come on.
That leads me to my next point. Is it all about athletic ability or defensive is it more mental? Lito, is it more mental?
Nah, I mean, I definitely don't think it's all about athletic ability. I mean, hell, look at Herb. Herb is not, he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, he's not the fastest. It's just understanding positionally where you are, right? Is understanding who's on the floor, who's your man, who are you guarding? Is watching film. It's knowing your matchup, right? It's knowing Matisse Thybulle is in the corner. I'm not closing out on him. I'm not, whoever drives, I'm not kicking out to Matisse. I'm staying with my man. It's all about, it's a mental thing to me. You don't, honestly, bro, playing defense, you don't have to block every shot. You don't have to block a shot at all. As long as you're an irritant, you're in that person's airspace, like, you've done your job. You made somebody waste a couple dribbles on offense. The shot clock is going down. You're disrupting their sets. You've done your job. Like Chaz said with BI, I'm not expecting BI to ever come out and be hurt. I just want BI to give effort. That's it. If BI gives effort with his, with his God-given length, pause, he's gonna be a guy who can play passing lanes, right? He can disrupt things. He can, everybody who, I'm looking at BI. Let's say we have BI at the 2, right? Everybody he guards, he's gonna be taller than. It's gonna be hell getting the ball over Brandon Ingram's raised arms. I feel the same way about Zion. Zion has all the athletic ability in the world, but you don't need all of that to play defense. You literally just have to try, bro.
I mean, that's the key, right? The effort, right? You don't need. I think you need some kind of basketball intelligence to play defense. Collective group, and there needs to be a scheme, and we could talk about the missed fouls all we want. But where do you see, Chris? Where do you see this team improving next year on the defensive end? Like, how do you see that growth? Like, how do you measure that growth?
Well, I mean, the interesting part about this team is that defensively, even through the injuries, they were actually a pretty, like, statistically, they were a pretty good defense down the stretch. Now, they didn't do all the things that we wanted, that you would have wanted them to do, and there were some games where it just didn't show up. But it wasn't like they were getting torched. I mean, I think the numbers had them at like a top 10 defense. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't have sore spots. And look, I mean, I think sometimes, we talk about knowing where to be. We talk about smarts. We talk about athleticism, but defensively, it's also about chemistry. It's also about it's about communication, and a lot of times, those things build as you get a chance to play with, you get a chance to be healthy and you're available, for the man that's next to you, to where, if I rotate here, or, if I go here, you're going to be here. You know where to be there. You know where to be at there. So, I think that will be able to help them, because, again, like, you can look at this offense how in a lot of different ways, but I mean, I'm still of the mindset is that they should be so good, or they should be well off enough offensively to where they're not going to have to be, an amazing defensive team. And you're gonna have your disadvantages with, CJ at the point of your attack in some setups in some areas, or depending on how you use him. Maybe they use him similarly to how Phoenix does, and with Chris Paul, and maybe putting him in spaces where they don't expect you to attack. And no, Jonas isn't the greatest guy in space, but he was actually, I think, an average to an above average rim protector, and he was better in a lot of spots and setups than Steven Adams for whoever. I mean, as athleticism, look at Jackson Hayes. He's a hell of an athlete, but defensively he gets in trouble sometimes by not knowing exactly where to be, not falling for pump fakes, and he struggles in the strength area, in some matchups. I mean, you can go on and on. I think as long as this team continues to play well enough with each other, they have, I think Herb's a very important aspect of that. You have a guy like Jose off the bench. You have enough versatility. You get some minutes out of Dyson Dames maybe at some point. You have the effort guys off the bench. Najee Marshall changed games defensively just with his energy and effort alone. You need those guys to come in and impact basketball games. And if you can get improvements from guys like Jackson or Trey, I think that's how they get better, because I don't think offense should be their problem.
Cool. Like, before we get out of here, I think we should probably mention this. The first game has been released. We play Brooklyn at Brooklyn. How there's a leak out there of the full schedule. We don't know if it's true or not. We don't know if it's legit, but we're just going to talk about the first game. Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn. Zion, first game back versus Ben Simmons, first game back. There's a ton of different storylines. Brandon Ingram leads in the team versus Kevin Durant. You don't know if KD's going to be there. Lito, let's start with you. How are we looking in this game?
I mean, like you just said, man, it's so many variables there that we don't know the answer to. Like it's hard to is KD there? Is Kyrie on sabbatical? Is you know what I'm saying? Like is it Sage time? We don't know. So we just kind of I mean, I'm gonna just go on my move and say that the Pels are taking that game with health, God willing. I think the Pels take that game. I think okay, so there is no answer for Kevin Durant, period. If Kevin Durant plays, there is no answer. If Kevin Durant doesn't play, obviously that makes the game a lot easier to manage. The same with Kyrie, man. There's no answer for Kyrie if Kyrie's engaged. Like, you can't really do anything with him. Like, Herb can try his damnedest, but all the dribbling in the world, like, Herb can't, you know what I'm saying? So, but the thing I think with them is they're kind of one-dimensional. They're kind of like, it's my turn, now it's your turn. So you can almost game plan for that. You got to let somebody get hot. So if I'm going to let somebody get hot, it's Kyrie. I don't want the other guy getting hot because you ain't no off button on him.
There is not an off button, Chaz. Your rebuttal.
I think we're gonna start off the season kind of slow, just because of BI's history of like taking time to adjust to new talent coming on the floor. I think even Zion, like, he has to get a chance to kind of like play organized ball, get back into the groove of things. But in true Pelicans fashion, I wouldn't be shocked if the Pelicans blew out Brooklyn and lost by 80 points against the Wizards the next night. Because that's what the Pelicans do. I just wouldn't be shocked, dog. Like, that's what the Pelicans do. I think no matter what the schedule was like in that first 10 games of the season, they just got to like kind of tread water until BI gets – I'm more concerned about BI getting adjusted versus anything else. I'm not even that worried about how Zion looks. I just know BI takes some time to adjust to like playing with new people on the floor.
Hold on. Chaz, can I say one thing, though?
Mm-hmm.
If you say they playing the Wizards the next night, Kyle Kuzma on the floor. I'm not worried about that game at all. Brandon,
you know what? That's a good point. That's a good point, maybe. So help permitting. I think we should win that first game. I think, isn't it Adam Stevens? I think we should win. I think we should win that first game. Help permitting. Only thing I would worry about is being. Oh well, you know what? He's right. We're gonna win by 100 points.
Shut up, bro.
They're not gonna see what's coming.
This man, you got a real problem.
They're crazy. But no, I think they'll be all right. I'm more concerned about letting Kyrie get hot, because I feel like Kyrie can beat you in more ways than KD, because KD is gonna kill you in the mid range. He's gonna turn around and hit you versus if Kyrie can just collapse your whole defense. Like, he just gonna kill you at the point of attack. Step back threes, just everything. I'm more concerned about him, honestly. Like, that dude crazy.
That dude crazy. Chris, what you got on Brooklyn Pels?
Man, just a lot of, like everybody's been mentioning, man, so just a lot of question marks. I mean, not only between KD, Kyrie, and health in the Pelicans' direction, who will be available, but what will these players look like together, right? What will the energy and the chemistry be like for Brooklyn after the offseason will be if you do have KD, and Kyrie and company? I think they're a talented team. And then let's say everyone is healthy, right? I mean, the Pelicans, I don't think that they, you have an answer for a healthy Kyrie Irving one-on-one. No one really in basketball does. And it's the same for Kevin Durant. But if Brandon picks up where he left off last season, is Royce O'Neal gonna cut it? I don't believe so, right? If Zion is anywhere close to what we saw the last time on the basketball floor, does Brooklyn have an answer for that? How do they choose to match up against Zion?
We got to remember, Uncle Ben may be coming back.
Ben Simmons. Okay, another variable. How am I forgetting Ben Simmons? How is that gonna look? How are those guys going to look, trying to end up, figuring out how to play together? It's a lot of questions on both sides, man. I think that if we're talking about an offensive game, whatever the over is, I think you take the over. And I mean, who's ever playing the best, I think as a team, knocking out shots is probably gonna win that game, because I do agree with Chaz, from that perspective, from this perspective, that the Pelicans are gonna have to take some games to figure out this new setup that they have, not just from the starters, but how the back end of their rotation is going to look, who's going to play well with each other. I mean, it felt like we saw CJ and Larry and those guys play longer than we did, man. But it's only 30 games. We still have a long way to go, and that's before even talking about Zion. But I mean, regardless, I see Brooklyn and Pelicans. If the cast of characters we think are going to be there, I think that's really a high scoring game, man. That's the best I got for you.
One question: is that a finals preview? If teams stay the way they are, is that a potential finals preview? If Brooklyn stays healthy, and because think about, man, can we really imagine Ben Simmons breaking down the defense, passing it to a Kyrie or passing it to just that shit just seems scary, dog. But imagine, knock on wood, a healthy Zion, healthy BI, healthy CJ, it all gels together, healthy JV, because JV really is the X factor. And imagine that matchup. Is that a potential finals preview in y'all mind?
It could be. I mean, it has that flair to it. The NBA
box
loves,
office, right?
Right. NBA loves drama. There's drama there. CJ and KD had their little, not altercation, I know nothing like that, but their conversation about, hey man, you're good enough. Like you know, like, so there's that. Then there's Zion, the mystery, Ben Simmons. There's KD versus BI, because BI is the next incarnation of KD. There's so many storylines. There's so many.
Crazy.
That would be crazy. And then the potential trade that was possible, right? But like there's so many storylines. I just keep thinking of different ones. But look, I'm not gonna keep y'all here long. We've been on here about 40 minutes. Let's start with you,
I got a question before we get out of here.
Go ahead.
Where? I mean, this is a Herb show, right? Where do you think Herb can get better defensively? Is that a thing? Like, is there more that he can add to his defensive tool bag?
The knowledge, bro. I think he just now he's calculated everything. Now you've seen it all. Like Tom Brady talks about this all the time. Why would I stop doing something when I know all the answers now?
Yeah.
Like, why would I just stop? I mean, and Herb seems like he's like he's that dude in school that just got everything right. Like, dang, this is his first time at this, and then he just rolled it up again. He continues. I think he has it. I think this is repeatable. Like the effort that what he just did last year, that rookie season, it's repeatable.
For sure. And look, I asked that question because, all right, I'm glad you said that because I do agree. But I asked that question because basically, if that's the case, we just witnessed his floor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think about it that way. Like, even if he doesn't get better, like, look at what you got.
People are not supposed to walk into the situation that Herb walked into last year with those level of responsibilities out the gate and thrive and be dominant at it. So that's what's interesting, man. I mean, you don't see that very often, to where a guy who is kind of a mystery on how soon will he be able to impact the floor, impact the game, especially going back to when he was drafted. Even if we knew he'd be good defensively, I don't know how many people were thinking it would be right away. And then to have those, you're being asked to guard the best players on every single team, barring a center, but in some switches, you see him. I remember plays against Karl Anthony Towns. He's being caught on switches and not moving. Right. It's very interesting to see how he applies what he learned from that year and the success that he had, and how he applies to this year. And then what type of whistles will he get from the ref this year? Will he get more favorable calls? Will he avoid others? And how much help will he have, behind him to help, to assist his own superhero ever some nights defensively? I don't. That's a really good question, Lito, because I don't know if we talk about that enough. How much better can he be?
Dude could dye his hair, get a little stronger, and just start rebounding everything. Because, like, the motherfucker is, like, he's rail thin. So imagine him 5-10 pounds of muscle, just stronger. Because he's ready. He's not like an explosive guy, but we've seen him finish through contact. We haven't even seen how good he could be on the boards yet. Like, the dude, he has if this is his floor, he has a potential to be a monster defensively. Like, he really changes the ceiling of this team. He really does. It was an amazing pick, amazing draft pick.
With that all being said, I think we all can agree that Herb is the defensive foundation of this team. He has all the potential in the world. I still believe that he can be possibly the defensive player of the year, even this year. If the team does well, if the team defensively does well, the analytics behind it, if Herb can get the acknowledgement from the media, and I think that all plays in some kind of role in this. He has that mantra, that ability to win this award. As we sign out, Chaz, let the people know where they can find you.
Yo, hot takes on Chaz. Got some new episodes. Whoa. Say hot takes on. That sounds crazy as hell. Look at Chris' face. I looked up. I knew I said something wild. Well, I said takes, but that still sounds wild as a motherfucker. But excuse me. But hot takes with Chaz. That's dropping this week. I got about got a couple episodes dropping this week, and yeah, man, I look forward.
Lito.
Paul.
Man, you can holler at me. You can holler at me on Twitter. LITO _THEGAWD. You might get a rant this week. I've been watching the news. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying a lot of dumb shit. You might get a pod. I'm just not sure yet. I want to talk about Game and Young Boy's album, so you might get that.
For sure, Chris.
Impatient Bull on Twitter. I'm still recording, still looking for things to get through this off season. Probably connect with some people to continue pushing in spaces. But I'll be honest, man, I'm ready for the season to start so we can get back on Twitter, man, and having fun after the games, man. So I'm really counting down for that, and continuing to work with you brothers, man, and build the brand. That's pretty much it.
For sure. Miss Me, it's 5, Conrad Reed, 5 on Twitter. I came out with an article the other day. Let the blend play neck. I even got a shirt. I would turn around, but it's kind of hard. I got this chair. Don't even worry about it. But cop one if you want one. Read the article. It's really just an homage to my experience at LSU and how the culture of Louisiana is like given through the people and translated back on the field and back and forth.
Well, hold on though. You designed the shirt. Like
I did design the shirt.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah. That's important.
That's really important. So if you want to support me, please, I really appreciate it. It's through Boo Crew. Shout out to Justin, man. Shout out to Justin. But it's me, 5. That's Chaz. It's Lito. That's Chris. Man, we out. Peace.